Chambea, ala, cabrón ya no te quedan balas. Chambea, ala, cabrón ya no te quedan balas. Yo siempre picheo en rol otra vez. Yo siempre picheo en rol otra vez. Yo siempre picheo en rol otra vez. Yo siempre picheo.
And welcome to the 2023 Fan Battle Royale. I am Bob McDonald, and joining me on this festive and turns out final occasion for this event is Jimmy Lemke.
Let's finish this and then shoot this old dog, as we should have done years ago.
Now, Jimmy, of course, you can find on Twitter at Jimmy Lemke. You can find us online, of course, at horizonroundtable.com. In fact, go to horizonroundtable.com/subscribe, because we're on so many social sites that I'm sick of listing them out every time we do this.
The one you need to put on is the Patreon. Push the Patreon.
Should patreon.com/horizonroundtable.
This is a
yes, right.
This is a very useful and important service.
Yeah,
that you put up for fans of Horizon League basketball.
And also, you get a mug too, a very nice mug.
It's a cool looking mug.
It really is. It's funny because I haven't gotten me one, which is sad actually. John has one.
Yeah, I can confirm. It's really cool. I used it this morning for my coffee.
See? Yeah, it looks pretty snazzy. So, patreon.com/Horizon Roundtable. If you at the $5 a month level, you get a mug. So, yeah, definitely do that. HorizonRoundtable.com/subscribe. That's where we have links to all of our social sites, links to as well as links to where our podcast is available. So, definitely do that. So, Jimmy, this is the end.
We've hit the end of the road.
We have officially hit the end of the road. So, as you all know, we've posted this multiple times that our goal every year is to get a fan from each of the Horizon League schools to join us, and we give the floor to them. And every year, it seems, we have fallen short. So I made it a personal effort to say, this is it. We need a fan from each of the 11 teams. And, well, that didn't happen. So as of right now, the Fan Battle Royale this will be the last one, guys, the last ride. So let's go ahead and introduce the people who actually did show up. And hopefully we got a couple more that do show up. Jimmy, I know you're holding out hope for at least one of them. But let's start out with let's go by school. So representing Cleveland State is John Durda one more time because he said yes.
Hey everybody, I'm John Durda. Graduated twice from Cleveland State. Been a huge CSU fan for about 15 years now. Looking forward to talking some Horizon League basketball, talking a little smack, and go Vikes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're going to do that.
Well, all right. So moving on, and we'll talk about No Detroit Mercy fan a little later on. In fact, after the introductions. But let's move on to another stalwart of the Fan Battles Royale or Fan Battle Royales, Jim Cerro, representing Green Bay.
Hey, Bob. Sorry for the delay. I was refilling my mug. My dog was thirsty, and I need to get that done so I could lock in on the podcast here.
Yeah.
Excited to be on today. When the fan of the 2-18 Green Bay Phoenix is dropping Twitter bombs on Fort Wayne, Detroit, Robert Morris fans, it definitely is time to end this particular bit that you do every year. But let's do it.
Yeah. So, sad to say, I think our IUPUI fan, he had circumstances beyond his control, so he will not be joining us. Sorry, Jonathan.
Which you can learn about on the Discord.
The link to our Discord server, horizonroundtable.com/subscribe. The link to the Discord, and Jimmy administers that, so you've been warned. He does a good job on that shit too, because
I bring the juice to the Discord.
He does bring the juice to the Discord. So moving on, we'll talk about Milwaukee in a moment as well, James.
Yeah.
So let's move over to Kyle Craven for representing Northern Kentucky. Now, this requires some explanation because Kyle used to contribute to us, and now he does no longer. So technically, he is eligible for this. So welcome, Kyle.
Yeah, hi. I only agreed to do this because I thought that Book Guy from Detroit Mercy was going to be on, but he's not. So I don't know. I guess I'm stuck.
Yes, you are.
I really wanted the other guy from Detroit. I wanted the guy who complained that our coach was breaking their camera.
You were referring to I know who you're talking about. He's been on before a couple of battle royales left. Maybe he knew you were going to be hosting it, and that was not going to happen. Also, I'm pretty sure he doesn't like me anymore either. But anyway, moving on.
That's okay.
We actually have a new face here representing Oakland. Harsh, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Harsh. I am the sports director at WXOU, Oakland's radio station, student radio station. We are home to the highest population of theater students and the longest serving head coach in Division I history. I am so glad that the Detroit representative isn't here to defend himself, because we're going to smack it down on him.
Oh, yeah, Jim Boeheim retired, didn't he?
He did.
I was like, you're the longest. What about Boeheim? And then I remembered.
Boeheim's gone, man.
Yeah, right. Boeheim will never have any more Horizon League nightmares.
Yeah, he's had a couple. That's true. All right.
He's the coach that said he was never going to schedule a Horizon League school again, right?
Well, until he scheduled Oakland one more time.
Yeah, he scheduled Oakland this year. It was great.
Yeah, he did. So that was fun. So moving on, we have another holdover from last year. He was here last season. He's back again. Shane, welcome once again.
Yes, I am back. Went to Wright State from 1999 to 2001. Great to be back, Bob.
All right. And last but not least, we do have a Youngstown State representative, Reed. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Class of 2003 from Youngstown State. I was in college the last time we actually had a real men's basketball team back during the mid-con years, battling with Valpo.
Like the end of the 90s?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've been suffering for a basketball team, for decades. And
you're telling us like any of us here don't know.
Jimmy has been retroactively angry about this for like a month now.
Oh no, I've been angry about it I've been angry about it for a while. But yeah, go ahead.
And the injection of energy Calhoun's brought to just the student body, the campus. It really feels like when Tressel took over the football team and just brought us back. He's really been embraced, and it's this.
Uh-oh.
Your microphone cut out there, Reed.
I think we lost.
Oh, I think he's better.
No, I'm here. It's the phone keeps cutting me off when the screen goes away.
Oh, fun! Yeah, gotta love screensavers.
Just gotta periodically tap the screen.
Anyway.
Yes, tap the screen and you should be fine. So
yeah.
All right, so Jimmy, we're gonna go with the lack of a Milwaukee fan first. You go ahead and address that for the rest of the class, shall we?
We had this very fun idea because we had several people that were interested in representing Milwaukee, and then two of them got in a pissing match on a private DM. But that's like a group of Milwaukee fans we kind of like share the inside info between each other. And two of these guys got into such a pissing match that they ended up one of them ended up threatening to drive away, and one of them ended up threatening to come down to Milwaukee or go up to Stevens Point where this other guy was and beat the shit out of him, which I found hilarious, but apparently was grounds to not even be there. Yeah, so they kicked him out. And then I got this morning, last night I really went on there, and all these people who had been planning to be like, there was a bunch of people that wanted to do it. We were going to do a kind of like a pre-battle royale where they're just going to talk shit to each other. And then we'd vote on who was the best at it and have that guy represent us. But somewhere in that mix, they all figured that we had like plugged the hole and they didn't do anything. So we're stuck. And everybody I've talked to this morning is like, "Oh, I'm outside. It's really nice today." Which, like Jim said before we went live, it's in the 70s and sunny in Milwaukee. It's beautiful. Nobody's gonna want to come in and do this, but Jim made a commitment, and because he's a stand-up guy, and I made a commitment because it's got my name on it. I figure we should do this. So I guess it's me. I guess I'm the guy. But you can freely take shots at Milwaukee. In fact, I might take a few.
So I'm clear. Okay, so it's a couple of things here. First of all, it's funny that two guys from your group were going to actually meet up and beat each other up, because that was going to be that's one of the stipulations, folks. If any of you at the end of this fan battle royale meet up and feel the need to beat each other up, you have to record it, send it to us, and we will post it. Those are the rules. So clearly Milwaukee fans were going to get on the jump on that, and it just fizzled out. The second point is, how dare you mess with the Bart Lundy magic by not representing Milwaukee?
I will say this: you said they got on the jump and then just fizzled out, which is a pretty good description of our basketball season.
That is, it is what it is. Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy Lemke, are you saying that 6-4 down the stretch when you had a chance to win the conference wasn't really that good?
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't that great. So it was really great to be one neglected intentional foul away from winning a conference title. Really enjoyed that. Really don't miss that banner in year one of the new coach.
So, anyway, but
hey,
that's the
maybe that banner can hang in the hole that is now occupied by your lack of big men.
Oh,
hey, we got one. His name is Darius Duffy. It was really funny is that everybody seems to forget that we actually got this guy because he was a very early. He's a JUCO big. I don't think he's anything super special. I just haven't. I don't think he's like the crown jewel of the recruiting class. But he is a big body. He'll get thrown in there, and coach seems to think he can be able to pull another like Ahmad Rand recruiting, player that's going to be a big part of the team, like towards the end of the recruiting. I think that one of our big problems was that we didn't have enough big men last year, and that definitely shows by the fact that we gave up so many fucking offensive rebounds, but that's just me. It's kind of sad. It is what it is.
Sorry, apparently. Kyle, you can actually say this out loud, man.
I didn't want to bring it up if it wasn't going to be kosher, but I was just wondering for these post.
I literally just said if you guys go beat each other up, you got to record it. So anything's fair game.
For these post-show fights, should we, settle on like a neutral site like Indianapolis or something? Or do you think we should travel to the city of the higher seed? I'm just wondering.
You know what?
Well, if you're traveling to the higher seed, you're not going to Indianapolis.
No.
Fair.
No, you are not.
You will never go to Indianapolis.
Well,
I just wonder like what's going to get the most fan engagement, like for these fights. I'm specifically talking about fights.
I mean,
you can start talking about tournament location.
Yeah, you could do that. That's kind of, we got a little chippy about that, near the end of the season. That was fun.
That was
Which brings me. So, I not to get too far afield, but we do have 3 other teams that are unrepresented. Obviously, IUPUI is not represented through no fault of anybody's. So I'm going to give them a pass.
I would definitely give IUPUI a pass.
I mean, we'll give the fan a pass. I'm not sure we're going to give IUPUI too much of a pass, but anyway, but I am specifically disappointed in Detroit Mercy. I mean, it actually might be your fault, Jimmy. I'm beginning to think this might be it because you basically aired out, the guy who, I mean, I don't know.
It is what it is, and that's okay. I always thought it was weird putting my name on it because people hate my guts so much. But that's fine.
But I was doing it, and people don't hate me as much. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't hate me, but I'm just saying that
I don't know anybody that hates you, Bob. I don't know anybody that hates you besides your own Cleveland State fans.
Have we overlooked putting a Twitter poll out there for people to decide who they do hate more?
No.
Oh, I'll do that shit.
By the way, I think now that Twitter, I think Elon has decided that only verified people can vote in those polls now, so we'd be shit out of luck. So I don't think any blue checks follow us anymore, which is equal parts pathetic and sad. But that's that's the name of the game. So
hey, if it requires a blue check, then you're gonna lose 1-0 because I know Jimmy's not gonna vote for himself.
No, he is not. That's true.
What are you talking about? I hate myself. Why would I have a problem with anybody else hating me?
I thought you had a blue check now. I thought you were a blue check guy.
Okay. So here's the thing about the blue check.
Can we talk about the blue check a little bit? Because we're not done. We're not done with the no shows yet. We'll talk about why you have a blue check, and I'm sure that you wanted to test out the feeling. You feel like you're out $8 now.
I mean, I am out $8, but yeah, let's.
Not only are you out $8, now you have opened yourself for ridicule, which is even funnier, by the way.
Which
I don't know if that was an intended
actually has negative value. The blue check actually has negative value. You basically you pay $8 for people to mock you for having the blue check.
I apologize, Jimmy, because I have not done that enough for you. I will try to make up for it this summer.
Hey, Bob, I have
sorry, go ahead.
I was to say I have 2 working theories as to why Detroit Mercy is not represented on this particular podcast, and I just want to put them out there for us to discuss.
I am all ears.
Yeah, so the first one is that their fan base was not sure what to do with the fact that they actually had players commit before July, and they weren't prepared to discuss the happenings over on Livernois and 8 Mile, I think is where they're located, or something of that nature.
7 Mile, I thought it was 7 Mile.
McNichols,
there you go.
Yeah, Livernois and McNichols.
There you go.
Jesus.
And my other working theory, a little bit more intricate, is that, in terms of building an optimistic case for their season in 2023-2024, they haven't fully vetted a Ewing theory now that the alpha male has exited the building, and, perhaps they may win games in addition to scoring lots of points. So I'm thinking
that would be
those
hilarious.
are two reasons why they're not represented here.
They're probably looking for a coach that's got a son that's up and coming that they can recruit next year.
I'm gonna add another option that they may be trying to videotape somebody else's practices.
I'm glad you brought up the recruiting thing because we have the transfer tracker up on HorizonRoundtable.com. You know how much of a pain in the ass it is not to know who exactly is on Detroit Mercy's roster right now? Drives me insane.
Well, it doesn't matter who's on their roster right now. Most of them aren't going to be there come this basketball season.
Well, and even when they are, I mean, there's still the distinct probability that half of them will be hurt for most of the season.
Or they get tased outside of a club or something.
What? Oh my
Who
God.
was that? Was that Paris? I think that was. Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
If you can't remember, I sure as shit ain't gonna remember it. So, all right. So then we have Robert Morris and Purdue Fort Wayne. Now, I don't understand the whole dynamic between Purdue Fort Wayne and the fact that it's like, you would think there would be a Purdue Fort Wayne fan. Anyone. We've had a Purdue Fort Wayne fan on this Fan Battle Royale before, and then blah. And like, that doesn't make any sense to me because Purdue Fort Wayne, you would think they would have more fans, and yet I don't see them ever. It's a mystery.
I don't know.
And by the way, I'm gonna take responsibility for the lack of a Robert Morris fan because that is a whole group. Apparently, that is a whole group of people who do in fact hate me.
Well,
I don't know.
It was Paris Bass.
Have you actually? I mean, I'm based in Pittsburgh, and I mean, Robert Morris has fans.
Yeah. Oh no. They have a great fan base. It's just all of them are pissed off at us now.
I mean, I think they should be pissed that they win conferences.
I've only been down there for the YSU games, but
yeah.
I mean, the student section's great, but
yeah,
I mean, nobody's at the games. Like it's just, YSU was most of the gym minus the student section. Like I was kind of shocked. Like first place team in Horizon coming in. I mean, they beat us. Great game, but I mean, like I was just shocked at the lack of a fan base. It was shocking.
It is a teeny private school.
Yeah, but still, like it's the lack of support, especially too, because like it's not like it's in the city. The gym's easy to get to. I mean, it's kind of just strange,
I will say though, for the Horizon League quarterfinal, when they played at Cleveland State, they brought an entire section full of fans, and they were vocal, and it was a fun atmosphere.
No, it's it's probably most of their student section. Their student section's great, right behind the hoop. They got in YSU's head. I mean, like their students themselves are excellent fans, but in general, the university does not really support them, at least in my opinion, because that's where I work is Pittsburgh, and I talk basketball, and occasionally I'll run into an RMU alumni, and they're like, oh yeah, I've never been to a game. And I'm like, they're actually not bad. You should check them out. But just my 2 cents.
I think the last 3 years, people are really out of sorts and they joined at an awkward time. So I'm assuming the Fort Wayne fans are thinking that they're still supposed to be on the Summit League Battle Royale, and the Robert Morris fans are signed up for the NEC Battle Royale. So until proven otherwise, we're going to go with that.
Well, I think the Fort Wayne fans, they have a lot going on up there right now. They got the 10 caps season going on. So, I mean, of course, that's going to take a lot of their attention.
Yeah,
they have
exactly it.
They have to every day reconcile that they live in Fort Wayne. I mean, that can't be an easy task.
Hey, there will be no slander of the city of Fort Wayne on this podcast. Okay, that's where I met my wife. Damn it.
I'll say this: I can't speak to the history of the Robert Morris fan. Like, obviously, if you meet alum that say they've never been to a game, like that's COVID didn't exacerbate that. But I will say that like. Even here at NKU, we won the tournament in 2020. We won the tournament this past year, but so there should be just tons of excitement. But attendance is even down here. Granted, it's still high comparative across the league or whatever, but we're seeing some of our lower attendance numbers ever. And I just think that people's priorities have shifted a little bit in the last few years, and they're taking a little bit longer than anyone expected to kind of come back. So I would give it some time. And on the Robert Morris side, one more time too, as a fellow, we just joined the league very recently guy. It does take a little while, I think, for you to kind of feel a part of the community of Horizon League fans. I remember
that's the thing though. I mean, that's to your point. I mean, when Robert Morris first jumped in here, I mean, that was a group that, by and large, I mean, they were very, at least in my estimation, they were comparatively far more active in social media than, say, the Purdue Fort Wayne fans were.
Sure.
So the fact that, I'm a little befuddled by, and they have been and they're, they've been pretty active on social media for the entire time. That doesn't translate into butts in the seats is a mystery. That it didn't translate into one of them coming into this particular event is also a mystery to me. But that's what I'm a little. It is a little weird that is the issue, because in my estimation, I do think Robert Morris has a pretty solid fan base. It's just it clearly just doesn't show where, maybe I'm in the parallel universe here. I don't know.
I'm thinking it comes from the fact that Andy Toole's been their coach for like 15 years.
Yes.
They've been to a couple NITs, a couple NCAA tournaments, although I think they were an automatic qualifier when COVID canceled the tournament.
They were, yes.
But since they've come into the Horizon League, they've been trash. They were bad in the first post-COVID year, and they only got marginally better the year after that. And this last year, they finished sixth. Sure, which is a lot better than they were, but it's a problem that a lot of schools have making that transition. I mean, how many schools transition to a higher conference and succeed immediately? It took Loyola a few years in the MVC. It took. I mean, I would say Valpo coming here from the Mid-Con was probably the best.
Yeah.
And they didn't win a title for like 8 or 9 years. They won it was like the 5th or 6th year when they hosted the 2012 tournament. So it's just one of those things where it will take schools a measure of time to recover. And with Robert Morris, to me, they're in that recovery mode. I think that not firing Andy Toole was a really smart idea. I don't think he's a bad coach. Usually Robert Morris, even when they were not winning even when they weren't winning the NEC, it was the NEC, right? They were in the NEC?
They were in the NEC, that's right.
Even though they weren't winning that, even when they weren't winning that, they were generally one of the better teams. It's very much like a Jeter scenario, right? Like, it's a guy who has won a couple times, but maybe they want to take something away from one of them, and it's just going to take time to build. I looked it up. They're 16-17 this year.
To your point, Jimmy, they were 10-10 in league play, 6-4 in their last 10. So it wasn't like they had this like great season. They beat the bottom of the league, but they weren't really having a great season to build a lot of momentum.
But it was better because they weren't the bottom of the
Jim,
league.
they didn't beat all of the bottom of the league, if you recall, because they lost IUPUI for the second year in a row.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, I thought we weren't taking shots at IUPUI today, because that no fault of their own.
Taking shots at IUPUI. They won. But I think to everybody, I think it's an objectively. I think that's not an opinion. That's an objective fact that IUPUI was terrible last year.
I think there's something a weird fit, but the more that I look at it, the more I think that this conference, the center of gravity in this conference, has just drifted drastically east, and Jim and I are the ones that are not fitting so well anymore. Like, we're not fitting very well in the Horizon League as the programs that we are.
Well, if you think about it, you lose Chicago and you gain Pittsburgh. So
I mean, but that's just part of it. Okay, so all right, to paint how, as a Milwaukee fan, when I was in college I graduated in 2010. So during my years of college, our arch rivals were, I would say, Green Bay and Butler. Now, everybody looks at Butler as like the big game. And I would say that Butler has other rivals. But I will also point out that Rob Jeter beat Butler and Brad Stevens more than any other coach did. So there was a little bit more on that. And then the second thing that I would point out is that Butler was in Indianapolis, which is a 3.5-4 hour drive from Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Wayne is basically the same, about 3.5, 4 hour drive from Milwaukee. But there's nothing pulling us to IUPUI or Fort Wayne. In fact, for a long time, we would talk about those schools as oh God, we might end up with them because we don't trust John LeCrone as the commissioner to keep them out. And I'm sorry to say this, Reg, but we thought we saw the evidence to that in that Youngstown was the knee-jerk ad when Valpo turned us down in 2000.
Oh, I agree. I was actually kind of surprised that they moved up in basketball because the talks were always, with them being in the Missouri Valley Conference for football, that they were going to hold out like until possibly they were going to have to be a knee-jerk reaction to the Missouri Valley and just bounce out the whole conference thing. So when they joined the Horizon, I was a little caught off guard, to be quite honest.
Who's keeping you guys out of the MAC? Because that's like the perfect conference, and there has to be somebody who's like a 100% no vote.
Well, I mean, the rumor's always been that our gym's too small, but now we've got the Covelli Center downtown, which they're going to start moving the bigger games to gradually.
The gym is too small is something that we do not have a problem with generally in this conference, and the Bailey Center is 6,000 seats. It's more than enough for a MAC program. Nobody averages 6,000.
Joining the MAC would also require joining the MAC for football too, which we just do not have the money for.
Okay, so it's really Youngstown. It's not like Kent State and Akron saying "fuck you."
Well, that's actually a shame because I'm obviously too young, but some of the older alumni, like, they just talk so fondly of like all the old football games with Kent and Akron. Like, there was a true rivalry on that side of it. And they're like, man, if we somehow could have got the basketball involved too, like the triangle, as we call it around Youngstown, because it's very close driving distance for those three schools for us. That, like, how cool would that be for basketball and football? Like, to be able to have one like a 45-minute drive for a road game.
Yeah, it's like not having Notre Dame in the Big Ten. Like, it
really does feel like that. And I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, like, it's football. I mean, the money needed to compete. I mean, there would need to be some seat expansion at the stadium, which is possible, but I don't see that being high priority. And just, I mean, you never know with the transfer portal now. I mean, with football and basketball, I mean, you may see a lot of these mid-major and FCS schools when it all shakes out, possibly joining, conferences that you never thought they would join.
Well, I mean, we've all got our theories about conferences. I'm just mostly pissed that we always expected Fort Wayne and IUPUI to be thought about by the conference. And back when I was involved in Milwaukee, I was always talking to the chancellor and calling up offices for presidents of other schools and getting them to read my emails, and I would get responses. And lobbying was successful. I mean, and I don't think I was the guy that made them happen per se, but I also wasn't the only one that was, in their inboxes, confronting them saying, hey, Oakland is the team you should go get. Back in, this is 2012 when we lost Butler to the Atlantic 10. And we're like, you have to get Oakland. You have to get Oakland. Oakland's got to be the school that you go get. And I can't remember. Did we get Oakland right away? Or did we get Oakland a year later when we lost Loyola?
No, we got
13,
Oakland right
14
away
was
because it was
the first year.
2013. Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy, you did a whole YouTube thing on it with John.
I remember, but I remember specifically because of the video. Was that the first?
It was 10 years ago, almost to the day.
No, it was actually. It's the funny part. It is actually, I believe, when we're recording this, I think it is 10 years to the day that Jimmy and John did what was considered the original. What was it? The Horizon League. We hadn't had a name for it, but you guys were gonna. Jimmy was gonna do a weekly thing, and then so that happened.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, I said, "Hey, we should do a podcast," and then that's what happened.
A podcast is good. Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, if it makes you feel better, you were talking about the old days where we would lament the fact that Fort Wayne and IUPUI may join the league. Now we have the opportunity to lament Chicago State and others like them being the last ones left. So
he's still Lacrone is still in the building over there. Let's not put that idea in their heads any more than it needs to be.
What I've been saying Eastern Illinois for a while.
So I thought maybe it would be helpful for you to get back on your bandwagon of reaching out to university presidents and give them the list of people not to consider. Just, give you a little something to do for the summer of 2023.
I don't think that membership is how we fix this. I don't think it's membership at all. I think it's everybody, recognizing what Youngstown's doing. Which you guys definitely understand up in Green Bay because you have Phoenix, was it the Rise program?
The 1969 Society, which is 1969 was the first year for men's basketball. The university was founded in 1965 and began athletics in 1969. And that's that's why they use that. But you're absolutely right. That is what the rest of the league needs to kind of get on board with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, and we did it. That's why we kept Freeman.
Society? What is that?
So that's a great question. So coming once the head coaching change was made in January, the athletic department, along with the Phoenix Fund board. So we have a Phoenix Fund, which is just general purpose fundraising for athletics.
Yeah.
But specifically carved out something called the 1969 Society, which is a higher price point commitment to athletics paid over a 5-year period of time. And then it gives exclusive access. So like as an example, as a member of the 1969 Society, I had there's a cocktail hour this week with Coach Wicks and the entire coaching staff. And so you get this.
What kind of juice cocktails did you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the things that happen, it's like a secret society, Jimmy. So I can't give you the details that come out of the meeting. But if you'd like to find out,
tell me afterwards. Yeah, I could join this 1969 society.
There is room for all, including Panther fans.
We have I said this to a friend of mine. We were talking about what you would do if you became a billionaire, and my idea was like, because we're sports fans. I was like, what I would do is I would get the Panthers like out of the Horizon League, but as a big thing, what I would do is I would massively juice the NIL funds of every Horizon League school to see if I could literally like turn the Horizon League into a top 5 conference just with money. I always thought that would be the funniest shit ever, but unfortunately, none of us are billionaires.
$1 billion.
I actually don't think so. Think about the NIL money. You put like $2 million a year in the pocket of every coach in the Horizon League, and they get to recruit based on that. They're going to be recruiting against high majors.
It's interesting about that. San Diego State, I believe the number is every player at San Diego State got $25,000 or $30,000 this year. They did it right across the board. They didn't have one player, even though they had Matt Bradley and a few other star players, those guys they had to do the rest of their nil on their own, but every player had a baseline and it wasn't super high. So to your point, $250,000 would go a long way. We see it, the rumors that I hear around the league, you mentioned Youngstown having significant success. And obviously they did really well in the portal again this spring, is that they're kind of ahead of the curve on nil and making sure that their players were making nil contacts in the community. And it's no secret that, they're doing well. They play a modern style of offense and have helped their players get a little bit of money in this day and age. And for old timers like me around the league, we're looking around like, how the hell is Youngstown finally alive? Well, that's how they're doing it. They got a little bit of money going and a modern style basketball.
I must say it's going to be kind of funny when you think about the basketball turnaround. It was kind of one of the things that when we look back on Tressel's tenure as president, you would think ex-football coach, that he would want that to be his legacy. But I mean, a lot of that you're saying being ahead of the curve on the NIL, a lot of that was driven by Tress, and he really, in a way, I don't know if that was like wanting that feather in his cap, like, I'm retiring soon. I think making sure both of the big two sports are strong like he was a major push behind, the university really starting to put more of its resources towards basketball. One, because it's so much cheaper than football to improve quickly. And just, I don't know exactly, I mean, if he was directly involved with Coach Cal's hiring, but there definitely was these last 4 years before Tressel retired, a major shift in how we looked at the basketball team. And so, I don't know, maybe just Tressel with the way he was able to be a little more visionary with how the NIL was going to help Youngstown. Maybe, just we kind of lucked into, being able to rock the transfer portal 2 years in a row. So
we did say, like, I remember when Tressel was hired, what was it, like almost 10 years ago now?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
We did when he was hired, a lot of us were like, oh shit, this could be the opportunity for them as a program, because you have somebody with not just knowledge, but like intimate knowledge of how important it is to get support to a program. We figured that was going to be the impetus for them to stop sucking so much ass at basketball. And it wasn't.
It just wasn't the men's side too. Like the women's program really has caught on these last 2-3 years. It's just, in general, he built the indoor training facility for the football team. Like we've got plenty of the sports are trending just because, he really found a way to get donor money in there to get structures built. And it's an exciting time. It really is.
It's just incredible because they held on to Jerry Slocum for so goddamn long.
Oh,
when they hired,
he needed sent to the glue factory in the worst way.
When they hired Jerry Slocum, he had been to 6 straight NCAA tournaments, and he had lost in the first round in every single year of those 6 years. Clearly, this was a guy who was maybe succeeding in a bad conference or something, but he was not. He's not a winning coach.
He just always looked exhausted.
Yeah,
he really did, because he's 100 fucking years old.
That is true too.
And they waited until they didn't even fire him. They let him retire after the best they ever did was 5th place, right? Or was it 4th place?
Yep. No, I think
that was when they had Damian Ergel, Jimmy.
Damian Ergel, who's still in my buddy Jose's fantasy football league to this day.
Might need to update that.
It was a night before a basketball game, and a bunch of guys were getting drunk, and they were like, "We should fucking call Damian Ergel's hotel room."
Oh Jesus!
So Jose knew the girl who a girl who worked at the hotel, but not like that hotel, but a different one in the chain. And she figured out which was his hotel room number. So then Jose and Chad, I think, was there. Like 3 or 4 guys were sitting around a phone calling Damian Ergel. And they were like, we'll just keep calling him all night until he finally disconnects his phone. And he ended up answering the phone and being like, oh, hey, what's up? And then he ended up talking to them for 4 hours on the phone. To 6:30 in the morning, because they were just shooting the shit, a bunch of guys, and he became friends with them. It was really funny. It was really weird, but it was funny. Also, Damian Ergel was I don't know if anybody here likes soccer, but there was a U.S. men's national team game down in Columbus. And they do this pan over of the crowd, and in the 3rd or 4th row, Damian Ergel's standing on the bleachers way above everybody else, and he's just staring at the camera, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty great. I'm just saying, Damian Ergel's the shit.
There you go. And I think that's probably a good segue into closing out this first part of the final Fan Battle Royale. Tune in next week. We're going to be doing the second. We'll have the second part, so everybody hang tight so we can get all this show on the road. HorizonRoundtable.com. That's where all our podcasts and articles are. Obviously, you can pull us up where podcasts are found. You can pull us up on your Amazon or Google devices. So tune in next week for the stunning conclusion of the end of the Fan Battle Royale. Until then, thank you all for listening.